Hey guys, it's Janie. Welcome back to the Crafting Bookworm. Today it is time for my February wrap-up. Okay, welcome back, you guys. Anybody new, welcome. I appreciate you guys. So I ended up reading 4 books in February, which is pretty much the norm for me. The first book that I read was Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. This was a buddy read with 2 of my sisters, and for the most part we enjoyed the story. What happens in this story is Jen witnesses her son stabbing a man. It was right outside their house. And, of course, he goes through the whole thing and gets arrested. She goes to bed. She wakes up, and it's the day before. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be Groundhog Effect. But every time she wakes up, it's the next day before, and the next day before. And then pretty soon, it's bigger chunks of time that she's going back. And she's figuring, this is so that she can figure out the reasoning behind her son killing this man. And there are some twists in the story that I didn't really expect, and enjoyed that part of the story, enjoyed the characters. The one thing that really bothered me in the story was the fact that the timeline was just kind of confusing. There is a detective in the story, and his name is Ryan, and it is, unless I missed it, I didn't see where it came out and said, oh, Ryan is in this time period. So I'm trying to figure out where he falls in the timeline, and it just made it a little confusing for me. Because of that confusion, I rated it 3.5 stars. It could have got so much more if it would have been more easily understood, because the whole idea of the story was great. The characters were great. That part was just a little off for me. The next book that I read was The Quickie, and this is by James Patterson and Michael Ledwig, I think his name is. I did discover that I read this book back in 2023, I think. Probably, again, for my A-Z challenge, because it was a queue, and that was the reason why I did it this time. As you can tell, it wasn't super memorable if I couldn't remember reading it in 2023. But in this book, we're following Lauren, and she's afraid her husband is cheating because she sees him leave this hotel with another woman. So she figures that she's going to get a little revenge and have a quickie herself. Only problem is, her husband was not having an affair, but what he did was far worse, because she sees him loading her lover into his car. And the man is found dead. So she is a New York police officer, and she is put in front of the investigation, and she's just trying to stay on top of things. She doesn't really want her husband to go to jail, even though, even though she knows he's a murderer. And they just kind of bounce along like their relationship is perfect. And that's pretty much where the story goes. It was a fun, quick, easy read. Nothing brilliant about the story, or, anything that just really had you pumped to read the story. So that was 3 stars. The next book that I read was Escape from Aurora. This is book number 2 in the Frost Heart series. I love this series, you guys. We're still following Ash. He's still on his adventures, and like I explained before, Ash is what they call a song weaver, and he can sing songs to kind of calm the beasts and the creatures that live beneath the snow. And while he's going on this adventure, then, they always have the worries about these creatures, the leviathans. There's just all kinds of different creatures that live beneath the snow, because they're on a sled, not a ship. It just looks like a ship. but it's a sled. There's a lot of good adventure in this story, and I'm thinking it's a middle grade, but they're pretty big books for middle grade. So really enjoying that. I didn't tell you the author is Jamie Littler. So if you get a chance to read the Frostheart series, if you like middle grade, I highly recommend this one. That was 5 stars. The last book that I read for the month of February was The Program by Suzanne Young. In this book, suicide is an epidemic in the country, and they are calling it an illness. And they have what they call the program, and it can cure this illness from these people. They're trying to stop this epidemic. And we're following mostly Sloan and James, and they get put into the program. And what happens is they eventually forget everything. They don't have memories. I'm not going to tell you how this happens. I'll let you figure that out. This book, this series has been out for a long time. This first book came out in 2013, and I've always wanted to read it, but I would always go to the used bookstore to find it, and they would never have it until, I think it was 2 years ago, my husband and I went back, and they had them all lined up, and I'm like, I'm buying it, because, you know, I still want to read this series. So, it is actually really good. The characters are really good. I love the characters. I love the interaction between characters. This is a YA series. And I am now on book 2. So I'm going to finish book 2 and then move on to something else. Because in this series, the first 2 books is Sloan and James. And then the next 2 books is different characters. And then there is different characters in the last 2 books as well. I will eventually get the whole series read this year because I want to finish it. That was one of my must-reads for 2025, and it was for all of the books. So I'm going to get that whole series finished this year. That's the plan. So yeah, that was 4 stars for the program. Like I said, I started book 2, where it took off right where the other one ended. So I liked that as well. There was, in the second book, another person mentioned who just got entered into the program. So I'm not sure how that's going to play into the series, because I don't believe this person was the person in the 3rd book that comes up. I don't know. So we'll see how that all ties in. But yeah, I had a pretty decent reading month. A couple 3 stars. They were okay books. I'm glad I read them. And then I had a 4 and a 5 star. So that was pretty good for this month, I think. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were on those. Or you can share with me what you read in the month of February. I love to have conversations with my with the subscribers and my viewers. I just love to talk about books. You guys know that. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.